Hey guys! So, after World War II, one of the best aircraft carriers, the USS Oriskany, was quickly built. It is also known as Mighty O, named in honor of the Battle of Oriskany during the Revolutionary War. The aircraft carrier was built as part of the Essex class with a long hull, but its construction was halted in 1946 when the ship was about 85% completed. The project was reworked as a prototype for a modernization program, and in the end, it was commissioned in 1950 after transforming into an updated design called 27 Charlie and became the example for modernizing the other 14 Essex-class ships. The history of the Oriskany is significantly different from the history of its fellow aircraft carriers. It earned 2 military stars for its service in the Korean War and 5 for serving in the Vietnam War. But even though it appears powerful, it wasn't safe from accidents. So on March 6, 1953, a plane flown by Lieutenant Edwin L. Cummer had engine problems, forcing him to return to the ship. Per his instructions, he was to cease his mission, drop his ammo, and return to the ship. But his attempt to drop his cargo was unsuccessful, and a 250-pound bomb got caught. Now, a similar situation had happened before, but not often, and Cummer was allowed to land. When he landed, the bomb came loose, bounced twice on the deck, and then exploded. 14 men were injured, and 2 were killed. Photographer pilot Thomas Leo McGraw Jr. and electrician Thomas M. Jagger. Fragments caused by the blast pierced the lower hangar deck and destroyed many parked planes. The hangar was also flooded with gasoline, resulting in a fire. But the firefighters isolated the hangar, preventing the fire from spreading, and quickly put it out. Meanwhile, pilot Richard D. Donovan cut Lieutenant Cummer's seatbelt and helped him out of his plane. The repair crew fixed everything damaged by the fire. The Oriskany was sailing already just 2 days later. But the catastrophes don't end here. So, on the morning of October 26, 1966, the aircraft carrier was anchored. The sailors were preparing ammunition for the floating airbase's morning flights, but suddenly, a warning signal went off. It turned out that Sector A-107M, where the magnesium fuses were stored in boxes, had a fire. A sailor accidentally lit a fuse and threw it into a weapons closet in a panic that stored other fuse boxes, which lit all the magnesium fuses in the closet. The fire brigade arrived immediately but couldn't open the locked door because it deformed under the high temperature. The sector turned into a furnace where metal melted. This caused the aircraft carrier's deck to heat up, but the firefighters poured water on it, hoping to lower the temperature. 10 minutes after the fire began, the locked doors opened because of an explosion caused by high pressure, killing 5 people. After that, a liquid oxygen tank heated up and exploded, heating another 2 hangars full of planes, and 1 A4 Skyhaul exploded. The smoke and flames quickly spread throughout the decks and the ventilation and hallways. Some of the crew couldn't escape their cabins and were trapped. A fire suppression program activated that flooded the hangar and many service areas with water. But the magnesium kept burning even in water while the sailors tried to carefully remove the ammo and undamaged planes and everything that could easily burn in water. Some of the crew saved the pilots and helped put out the flames over the next 3 hours. Firefighters spent 7 hours saving the injured, pulling out the deceased, and putting out the fire, and evacuating what was left after the fire. The catastrophe overwhelmed the right side of the front hangar, killing 44 people. Many of the deceased were veteran pilots who had flown over Vietnam just a few hours earlier. The Oriskany ended up in this dangerous situation when a magnesium fuse was lit in the nose sector to illuminate Hangar 1 under the cabin of a pilot. The investigation helmed by Captain John X. Yarobino and the analysis of the ammo stored in Crane, Indiana, showed that 1 of 1,000 fuses could accidentally light during jolts, and the 5 crew members who were held accountable were justified. After this and other incidents, the design of fuses used by the Navy was changed to a safer version that wouldn't spontaneously combust. Now, in March 1967, a dry dock in San Francisco Bay finished repairing the ship, and the Oriskany set off for Vietnam once again. After 25 years of service, the Oriskany was decommissioned on September 30, 1976, and sent for long-term storage in Bremerton for use as a mobilization asset. A proposal from the Reagan administration to reactivate the Oriskany was denied by the U.S. Congress because of the poor material condition and its limited capabilities. The cost of reactivation was estimated at $520 million in the 1982 financial year. At the end of the Cold War and the last reduction of active U.S. Navy strength, the Oriskany was designated as old and removed from the Register of Navy Vessels in 1989. Its hull had all equipment removed that would be reused or recycled. The ship's bell was put in New York, and various parts were released to support Navy ship museums. Now, in the early 1990s, a group of businessmen from Japan wanted to buy the Oriskany and put it in Tokyo Bay as part of a planned City of America Expo, but the project failed due to lack of financing. The aircraft carrier was in storage for 14 years, waiting for financing for its dismantling. But in April 2004, the Navy announced they would transfer the former aircraft carrier to Florida for use as an artificial reef. A team of sailors sunk the ship on May 17, 2006. A team of divers specialized in deactivating Navy weapons from Panama City, Florida, exploded charges of C4 weighing about 510 pounds. A fleet of boats surrounded the ship, and onlookers trumpeted and applauded when the ship sank under the waves. Engineers expected that the sinking could take 5 to 8 hours, but the ship sank stern down in the first 37 minutes after the explosion, 200 feet deep in the Gulf of Mexico, 24 miles southeast of Pensacola, Florida. The process of the lengthy ecological cleaning and the sinking itself cost $20 million. As anticipated, the ship stopped vertically, bathed by the warm Gulf Stream waters, becoming the largest ship ever intentionally sunk as an artificial reef. Many tourist operators in the region recommend a trip to the Oriskany, and thousands of diving enthusiasts visit the huge 888-foot-long, 129-foot-wide aircraft carrier. According to the University of Florida, in 2007 alone, the Oriskany brought the state over $4 million in income. Now, it's clear that time is needed for any reef to flourish. However, the people who dove to the sinking site over the last 12 years confirmed that there is life. At first, the ship was occupied by crabs, but over time, plants and mollusks attached to the metal attracting smaller and then bigger fish. Whale sharks, milk sharks, sunfish, and manta rays circle the sinking site, while octopi, eels, and crabs sometimes hide in the many cracks of the sunken ship. The sunken aircraft carrier created a significant habitat in the region that is mostly just a smooth, sandy bottom. Serving as a home for many different sea creatures is a warship that also serves as a monument to the dead soldiers and as a reminder of the Navy who after death were cremated or buried in this place. Currently, the ship is widely known as the Great Carrier Reef, a reference to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. But in the end, everything sinks to the bottom. Nevertheless, since it was a military ship, it is made from a very thick metal, which will be a wonderful reef and excellent diving attraction for a good 40 years. Leave a like if you like the idea of making a reef out of an aircraft carrier. Well, that's all for today. Be sure to leave a comment too. Would you go dive in this? I don't know about the sharks. And we'll see you again next time.